Hey guys, Charles Buddy Custer here, Director of Growth Development at Cultivate Communications. Thanks for stopping by. What you are about to see is the first in a series of what we hope to continue throughout the year. These are interviews with individuals that have either decided to attend our Unplugged events or interviews with subject matter experts in the industry, understanding what it is they are doing to help grow their businesses. For today's interview, this is a conversation with Luke Vanderploeg, an individual from Holland who decided to actually fly to Milwaukee for the first Unplugged event with Justin Roff-Marsh back in November. The event was a day-long discussion going over Justin's business topics and taking a deep dive into his philosophy and how sales should be operating and how operations should be driving the revenue of the organization. I don't want to give away too much of the conversation with Luke. Takes a little bit for us to get started, but we really get into some great topics, and it's a pretty good recap of the event. We hope to see you guys at our future Unplugged events. These will be an ongoing series for us throughout the year. But if you've got about 15 minutes, take a watch of the interview. Let us know if there's any topics you want us to discuss, or if you have any interest in being a part of these interviews in the future. We would be happy to set up a conversation with you, and you'll get to find out what Luke thought of his first impression of the U.S. and Milwaukee, Wisconsin. All right, thanks, guys. Enjoy.
Well, I guess first you should probably introduce yourself for the millions of people that are going to watch this video.
Right, right. Okay. Well, hi everyone. My name is Luke. I'm from Holland, by the way. I work as a project manager at Sales Architects. We are a sales consultancy and we mainly focus on improving the sales process and results, of course, of wholesale companies. In the Netherlands, we do some work in Belgium, and we actually used to have one client in the US, in Pennsylvania. So that's a basic rundown of who I am.
Okay, all right, awesome. Now, this is a first for me, so I appreciate you being the first guest on this recorded style session. Uh,
Pleasure is all mine.
as a new business development director with Cultivate, one of the events that we're bringing forward in 25 is what we're calling Cultivate Unplugged sessions. And so Luke got the chance to attend the first one here, which is why we're having this sort of recap session. I just had some questions that I wanted to run through with you. The first one being, as you said, you're from Holland. You made the decision to come all the way over to beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin in
Exactly.
in the early stages of winter. What was the reason why you decided to come fly over here?
So the main reason for me flying out to beautiful Milwaukee, and it was cool. There was nothing to be embarrassed about. I like Milwaukee. The main reason was the event you guys were hosting. The host Justin Roff-Marsh. I've read his book. I subscribe to his vision. I guess you could say I'm a fan of his work. I've been following for a few years. And due to the event you guys put together, at least I had a great opportunity to come see him in the flesh, learn from him for like an entire day. So that was a great opportunity for me.
Okay. And how did you find out about the Cultivate Unplugged event with Justin Rofe-Marsh?
So I've been following him on his blog, his LinkedIn, etc. for a few years, and I think it was through his LinkedIn. I think he just posted a message like, "Hey, we're doing this and this. Um, be there or be square, essentially." And I well took the bait and flew out to Milwaukee.
Okay, so you saw it online, and
Yeah,
you've been a long time follower of his philosophy. It's kind of a radical philosophy, and if you haven't read The Machine, and this was your first time experiencing this, it's definitely an eye-opening experience. I know for myself, how he sort of took my vision and understanding of sales and sort of flipped it upside down. I wasn't prepared walking into that for that to be the initial message. But as you go through the presentation, he does a good job of explaining why he views things the way that he does. What what's one of the biggest things that Justin preaches that sort of resonates with you? Why are you such a strong follower of what he's preaching with his messaging?
There's so many things. So I guess his first slide, the first slide of the presentation that he used was like, who's responsible for revenue? And I feel like you could ask that question to anyone, and they'll always say, well, sales, right? However, he feels so strongly about it not being sales. If you want to get the answer, go and buy the book. Which I think is a really interesting perspective. Once you see it, quote unquote, you can't unsee it. So that's definitely something that's really interesting. It's a refreshing, it's a new perspective on things. I guess he does a great job of um, applying the principles from manufacturing to a sales environment, especially the division of labor, which is really interesting. Um, but I also feel like his whole concept, I'm not sure if it's his concept, but his he very much is a big fan of what I like to call inside sales. So it's not like people going out on the road, having coffee with whomever, it's like, no, we can do sales from like an office or from home or wherever, through the phone, through Zoom or whatever. That works just fine, which I feel like is sales 2.0. I think if COVID taught us anything, it's that sales can be done from home just fine, unless there's some specific reason for you guys to drive out. So that's really interesting. People buy from people. That's also like something you hear like, well, I guess every week. He just has a very strong opinion on stuff like that. So he's contrarian, he's radical, unapologetic, and he makes sense. He just makes sense. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Good. No, those are pretty good adjectives, and I've only obviously only met him once and only spent a day with him, but all of those things came across. As a individual with a sales background, my first answer was sales, of course, drives revenue for an organization. And so
Right?
I was a little slighted when he said that wasn't the case. But now that I've had a few weeks to reflect on the message of operations being the driver
Yeah.
of revenue and that sales is more responsible for new business, it 100% makes sense, right? If
Yeah.
you're not delivering a product on time, if you're not um, delivering a quality product at the right price point, your revenue is gonna suffer. And
Exactly.
how is a salesman gonna fix those things? It should be the salesperson's responsibility to drive new business. So I totally get it. Um, were there any other takeaways from the event? I know you said you've read the books. Obviously, you followed along with his blog, so you're pretty exposed to his
Yeah.
philosophy. But being in
Yeah.
person, were there any other sort of aha moments that you didn't get from just reading things or following along on the internet?
Yeah, there were many. I think the one that stands out to me the most is I think he talked about it well, to the end of his presentation. He mentioned the three criteria, well, that are required, whatever it was, for like a sales opportunity or whatever it was.
Yep.
Um, I think it was, I'm not sure now that I think of it. But basically it comes down to you need a compelling proposition. And out of all the things that he does in his projects, he says that having a compelling proposition is much more important than like the ideal sales process or the ideal salesperson. Why? Because, well, no one has time anymore for a conversation with a salesperson on the phone. So if you don't have a compelling proposition, you're not having a conversation. That was his main point, which I thought was interesting. And what I loved about this bit is that he really went into great detail, I feel like, about how to craft this compelling proposition, even if you work in a market that's heavily commoditized, if you will. So one of the examples he gave was a customer of his that um, they did like forklifts, sell, buy for used new forklifts, whatever. And essentially, he worked with them, I guess, during a workshop or whatever, and he sort of transformed their proposition, not from like selling forklifts or ease or whatever, but it's like you do material handling. And once those executives were able to see their company and their processes through that lens, I guess, if you will, it just opened their eyes to like new acquisitions. It put things into perspectives. So that's something I feel that was really useful. That was new to me. Just it was super practical. So yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, it's funny it's like we're reading each other's minds over here. Because
You know what
so
they say,
well I
great
get
minds.
before I get there, remind myself and the audience the name of the company that you work for again.
It's called sales architects.
Okay. Sales architect. So
Yeah.
one of the questions I wrote down was, did you go back and sort of reevaluate your proposition to determine if it is currently a compelling proposition for sales architects, or do you feel like you guys have a compelling proposition at this point in time?
I mean, um, we could always improve. I feel like there's definitely no like I don't think we've reached, the pinnacle of whatever we're able to do. So there's always definitely room to improve. But there's definitely a few bits and pieces that I'm actually actively working on integrating within our services to help our customers with their sales process. Yeah, definitely.
Good, good to hear. Well, I look forward to seeing the final product, and we can talk about how compelling it is
Definitely.
because I'm sure that it will be.